Boy, it's hot as fuck in Alabama. Too hot in September, but here we are. So the past several days, I've been contemplating a lot on integrity and the pieces that are involved in that. And in my experience, part of that is getting really honest with ourselves about our intentions and being able to dissect whether or not our intentions come from ego or heart as being a foundational step. And being able to do that, preceding actual action, having that pause to sit and reflect before we act, and do the Rubik's Cube of our own intentions and playing out various scenarios of what the outcomes could be of our potential actions. And doing things for the right reasons that are in the best and highest good of all involved. And I keep revisiting this moment where when my mom died, I, being the only next of kin as her child, only living child, was tasked with planning her funeral and sorting out through her estate and all of the fun things. And I was still angry with my mom when she died. And then I added anger of her untimely death and the circumstances surrounding that. And I was very angry. We can still be angry with another human being and choose to do what we know is the integritous thing to do. After having gone through probate and all of the things with my mom's estate, she was an amazing quilter. And in her quilt room in the closet, I found 2 guns. My mom was not a gun lady, and those 2 sorry guns were in such a horrible state. I don't think in all the time she had possessed those guns that she had A, ever shot them, B, ever looped them. Like, they were in a sorry state. But nonetheless, I was perplexed as to why my mom had 2 rifles in her possession, given that she didn't shoot guns. And I went into the recesses of my mind and recalled having heard a time or 2 or maybe 3 my dad talk about a gun that he lost in the divorce with my mom. So I called my dad and I told him that I had found these 2 guns in my mom's possession and asked him if one of these guns had belonged to him. And after discussing serial numbers and make and model and all of that, it was determined that one of those guns is indeed, or was indeed, the gun that he had lost in the divorce to my mom. Now, legally, everything that was in my mom's possession belonged to me as the next of kin. And legally, I was within my rights to keep whatever I wanted of her possessions. However, my intention and my integrity told me that returning that gun to my with my mom's brothers about this other gun. And my Uncle Brian, who is the youngest of my mom's 4 siblings, explained to me that when my maternal grandpa had died, my grandma had all 4 of the kids come down to the gun cabinet and allowed each of them to select a gun from my grandpa's guns for them to keep. And she did it chronological order from oldest to youngest. My mom is the 3rd. My Uncle Brian was the 4th, so she got to choose before him. And my mom didn't go hunting. My mom didn't go shooting. And my Uncle Brian explained to me that the gun that he wanted was the rifle that my grandpa had taken the 3 boys out and taught them how to hunt with this rifle. And he said that out of spite, my mom took that gun. And he told me that he spent the better part of 10 or 15 years trying to buy this gun back from my mom, in so much as offering her 2 and 3 times the amount of the worth of the gun because of the sentimental value that it held to him. And for all those years, she refused to give him the gun. I was a young kid when all of that was going on, so I have no idea as to her intentions and motivations, but after he told me the story, I sat with that. Because again, legally, that gun belonged to me. But I had no sentimental value to it, even though it belonged to my grandpa. And I decided that the integritous thing to do would be to return that gun to my Uncle Brian. And I think that conversation probably happened in like an October or November time frame of 2014 when my mom passed away. And so for Christmas, I wrapped the gun up, not in a case, just the gun, in wrapping paper because it was cute and clever, and I just thought. And I hid the gun at my grandma's house. And then, we proceeded to open presents at family Christmas Eve, and I went back in the bedroom and I grabbed that and I brought it out to my uncle, and he unwrapped that gun for Christmas. And up until that point, I had never seen my Uncle Brian cry. But when he unwrapped that gun, he cried because of the sentimental value of his father's gun that he learned on how to hunt on, and how guns and hunting were such an integral part of who he is. And watching my Uncle Brian cry when he unwrapped that gun was evidence to me that I had done the right thing in giving that gun back to him. It would have been easy for me to keep both of those guns because I love guns. I have a shit ton of guns. I was raised in a gun family. I was raised in a hunting family. I'm an Army veteran. Like, I love guns. But keeping those guns would not have filled me with the sense of fulfillment and value as returning those guns to the 2 men that they rightfully belong to.